Meeting is called to order by President Janelle Voorhees at 10 a.m. on Thursday, February 4th on Zoom. Normally, this meeting would be in person and we would have wonderful soup. So that's why I told everybody to bring your mug in honor of that. But welcome to our business meeting and Community Quilts Quiltathon. Since we're on Zoom and you are all muted, you can sew during the meeting or knit or do whatever you want. This business meeting should last about 35 minutes and then we can continue until 2 o'clock. We'll break for lunch at 11:45 for about 20 minutes and then continue sewing. So start sewing if you haven't already. Don't feel bashful about that because you're all muted. And a general reminder, please pay your dues for 2021 so you get invited to the next meetings on Zoom. Okay, Fire Quilt thank you notes. We've received a couple. This one sends warm greetings to all. When Billy, and that's Billy Meisner, first told me I was going to receive a quilt, I was quite overwhelmed and speechless. I can't thank you enough for this beautiful handmade quilt. It currently holds a place of honor on my bed so I can enjoy it every day. And she has a heart drawn. I've been through such grief and loss the past couple of months. The quilt with all its colors brings me joy. Thank you for being my angels and blessing me with this quilt. All the best, Susan Clark. Very nice letter. We got another very nice letter. This one's from Grace Fong. And look at this card. She cut out all little teeny pieces of fabric and made a quilt on the front of it. And then she carried the theme through to the message itself and says, the Santa Rosa Quilt Guild and Gail Davis. Wow, what a truly beautiful work of art I received from your group. Thank you so much for your generosity of spirit, talent, and work of love that comes through the quilt. I was so fortunate to receive. I will treasure it as a memory of the good that comes out of loss. Love, Grace Fong. So I thought those were very nice. And then we got a cute card here from Marilyn. I hope I pronounce your name correctly, Aurit. A-U-R-I-T. Here's the card. And she says, oh, to have a big in-person meeting would be great for idea inspiration and mental health, exclamation point. So I thought that was a cute card of encouragement for us. Okay. Our 9-month mystery quilt. Who's working on Carol Belkey's 9-month mystery quilt? Yeah, a lot of us. Month 2 instructions are on the website under TSW, Technique Sharing Workshop. It's a 9-patch quilt using 3.5-inch squares, and it makes a very large quilt. If you would like a smaller quilt, you could make it using 2.5-inch squares instead of 3.5-inch squares, and that would be the perfect size for community quilts. I'm making 1 large one and 2 small ones. That's my goal. 1 for myself, large, 1 for a small one to give away, and the other one for community quilts. So I encourage you all. I have tons of 2.5-inch squares that I cut as starters and enders. So if any of you do starters and enders, when you're chain stitching, it's a perfect time to build up your little stash of 2.5-inch squares or 3.5-inch squares and then put them in this particular quilt. So anyway, check out the Santa Rosa Quilt Guild website under TSW to get your month-by-month instructions. And I won't tell you what the second month is for February. It's online. Quiltathon. Let's see what our community quilts team has up for us for this year, what they've been up to. So Anne, can you play the community quilts video by Janet Tonkin?
Yes, I will pull it up here.
Thank you.
And we got to get rid of all these silly windows that always pop up.
Hi. I'm Laura Barrett, and this is Janet Tonkin, and we're here with Community Quilts. And today we're recognizing the first Quiltathon of 2021. And since we can't be together in person to sew and to work on the community quilts, we thought what we'd do is explain to you who are the groups we donate community quilts to, and what sizes are those quilts, and why are they those sizes?
Sounds good. The one of the main groups we give to is, you'll hear us talk about the NICU quilts, and that's for the neonatal intensive care units at Sutter and Memorial Hospital. These are quilts that are about 32 by 40. This one was made the pillowcase way, where it gets put together and flipped over, and some of them get done with binding. It depends how people feel like working on them. One interesting thing with these is Nancy Stedman, who is a retired nurse, told us that they put these quilts over the little bassinet, that's not the right word. Isolette that the babies are in, protects the babies from the sounds and the bright lights of while they're in the neonatal unit. And also, one of the grandmas that was in our guild shared one time that her grandchild was in there, and because of the quilt on it, she could spot where their baby was, and that was really special to them. Quilts of that size that often will also go to public health nurses who go into homes with teens. Sometimes if I have ones that are just a little bigger than the regular NICUs, I will give them to the public health. This past year they didn't take as many because of COVID. They aren't going into homes as much. The next size and ones we do a lot of is we give them to Valley of the Moon, which we'll call VOM. And that's a foster care, temporary foster care home for kids that need emergency homes. And we give 100 of these quilts to them. They're usually around 40 by 60. But because some of the children are little, they don't really have to be that big. They can be closer to, say, 40 by 50 or something, because a 2-year-old doesn't need a 60-inch long quilt.
Minky.
Right, nice and soft.
Should we show a few more, Janet?
Yes. And the 60 by 40 by 60 quilts will also go to a number of other groups. Let's see, seniors that Jim Jensen often deals with will get some of this size, and some of the others that I'll mention in a minute. And some are very definitely for children, and some can go to children or to older people. Another group that we give to is the emancipated youth, which are kids that are aging out of foster care. And Dorothy Murray deals with that, and she and her husband, a group, they put together a laundry basket with towels and dishes and things to help the kids get started in an apartment, and they'll put a quilt in there. And those quilts are more bed size, or at least could go over the top of a bed, like 55 by 65 or 50 by 65, in that range. Lavella and her group make quilts and give to the local vets. And we also have dealt with doll quilts. This year, because of the COVID, there weren't people weren't taking them that usually do. So one group took a few and they said they will just save them till next year. And Marlene is keeping other ones that we had this year for having next Christmas time. Other groups that we have given to in the past, we didn't this year. We've sometimes done them for Secret Santa, which are gifts organized citywide. I think we really haven't given them then since the 2017 fires, just because of the number of quilts we have. We often give quilts to Verity, which is a group that works with women of sexual abuse and rape, and right now they're working remotely. We like to give them bright, pretty colored ones, and often more in the 40 by 60, good, nice lap size ones. The YMCA Safe House for Women and Children also takes them sometimes. Catholic Charities will take some of our quilts, and Alternative Family Services, which is another group that works with foster care and families that are needing help. They, likewise, we have not done for a couple of years because of just how many quilts we have. Really, the NICUs and the Valley of the Moon, Emancipated Youth, and the Public Health are the ones that we feel the most obligated to, but we always have enough for the seniors, and then also the local vets get ones.
Mm-hmm. And then as well, Janet, there's unfortunately it's becoming kind of constant, but we have the fire quilts.
Oh, that's right.
That we give out. So in 2020 we gave out 39, and then someone came to my house the other day, so that brings us up to 40, and we still have some fire quilts available. That are all made up, so you can contact Janet or myself or Pam Beebe, and we can get a quilt to you so that you can give it to the person that you know that lost their home in the glass fire or the Wallbridge fire. Okay. So Janet, while we're meeting on Zoom, can people still make quilts?
Yes, yes. We appreciate everyone making quilts. If you need a kit for the NICUs, we have those, or batting or backing. And if you need any of those, if you contact Pam Beebe, Laura Barrett, or myself, Janet, we can coordinate getting those to you, or you can come by our house and pick them up. And we appreciate, because things go out, and I'm hoping maybe in the next month or so to get some quilts to some of those people, plus the Valley of the Moon 100 will be coming up by April.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to drop some off, then you can drop them off to Janet or myself or Pam, and also you can contact Nancy Stedman, who's part of the Community Quilts group, and then Margot Pitters in Healdsburg. So if you're up north, you can drop some off with her. If you're down in Rohnert Park or Petaluma, you can call Sue Gregg, and she's willing to collect your quilts. And you know, at any of these places, you can always just put them in a plastic bag and leave them out in front, so that you don't have contact right now. Okay, well, don't forget to have some soup today in honor of Community Quilts Day, and the Quiltathon Day. And sew as much as you like today, any day. Dig into your stash, and we really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you all very much. Good to see you all.
Okay, take good care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Janet and Laura, and the entire Community Quilts team. This has been quite a year, and they still created 821 quilts. The list of quilts is on page 8 in the newsletter that Jim Jensen put out, and it's a beautiful newsletter. Thank you, Jim. Okay, we've been waiting many, many months for this. Home Alone Challenge with Tony Anderson. So, Anne, please roll the video for Tony. Home Alone.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be interesting. We'll do this.
Good morning. It's the Home Alone Challenge reveal. I thought we were going to be doing this 10 or 11 months ago. Can you believe it? But today's the day, and of course, we've had to modify it a bit. I've created a Zoom presentation that is a PowerPoint, and I've asked some judges to help me with the selection of who will be awarded the prizes in each category. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you to all the participants, and here we go. Welcome to the Home Alone Challenge, otherwise known as being brave and creative during a global catastrophe. The categories are: create a poem about this novel experience in your life, create a 20-inch by 20-inch wonky two-colored quilt that's an original design, take a creative photo of yourself in your sequestered quilt room, take a photo of a collage made from arranging your sewing supplies on a table or flat surface, or take a photo of a fabric accessory that features a one-word expression of this experience. The quilts. Create a 20 by 20-inch wonky two-colored quilt that's an original design. Our participants are Candy Delgado, Patty Zach, and Betsy Smith. Here's Candy Delgado. And Patty Zach. And Betsy Smith. And the judge's choice is Candy Delgado. Quilt Room Photobomb. Take a creative photo of yourself in your sequestered quilt room or sewing space. Our participants are Joyce Wood, Janice Yule, Janet Tonkin, Leanne Souza, Fran Threewitt, Linda Ayler, Jan Andrews, and Betsy Smith. Here's Joyce Wood. And Janice Yule. Janet Tonkin. Leanne Souza. Fran Threewitt. Linda Ayler, titled My New Best Friend in My Sewing Room. Jan Andrews. And Betsy Smith. And the judge's choice is Jan Andrews. Collages. Take a photo of a collage made from arranging your sewing supplies on a table or flat surface. Our participants are Janet Tonkin, Elena Colburn, Patty Zach, Leanne Souza, Jim Jensen, Betsy Smith, Jan Andrews, and Rhonda Denny. Janet Tonkin, Elena Colburn, titled Things I Need Every Day. Patty Zach, Leon Souza, Jim Jensen, Betsy Smith, Jan Andrews, and Rhonda Denny. And the judge's choice is Patty Zach. Accessories. Take a photo of a fabric accessory that features a one-word expression of the experience. Our participants are Lynn Souza, Caroline Pope, Janet Tonkin, Elena Colburn, and Betsy Smith. Here's Leon Souza, called Wally. Here's Caroline Pope, called Maker. Here's Janet Tonkin, called Hair. Elena Colburn, called Positive. And Betsy Smith, called Hope. And the judge's choice is Betsy Smith. Poems. Create a poem about this novel experience in your life. Our participants are Liz Park, Lolly Gannon, Michelle Marcotte, Kathy Conover, Caroline Pope, and Betsy Smith. A True Story by Liz Park. The message was clear. It was mass that they need. She can do that with all possible speed. But wait, there's no fabric. Can't go to the store. What will be quick? She cut up the tablecloth, some napkins and such. Now the old curtains. It's not really too much. She texted her mother, who had a large stash. I'm sure she can spare some. It will save me some cash. Of course, came the answer, I have way too much. I'm a quilter, you know. Will 3 bags be enough? She made many masks, she didn't keep score. When your mother's a quilter, you have your own store. "2020, you need a time out. You've been very naughty. In my house I will stay. Some days all I want is to play. My hair is gray and has grown quite long. Zoom has created a place I can belong. Cooking and baking I always can do. The calories might be better for you. Some days I rotary cut and sew. Other days I listen to the wind blow. Sometimes I search for new words. Other times I sit and listen to the birds. I could polish the silver and make it shine, or I can leave it alone, and that would be fine. I like to go out and walk my dog, but I prefer not to be out in the fog. I've been patient and I will continue to wait. Someday I will get to visit another state. I long to hug and hold the young ones, but for now I just have to sit on my buns. Other ladies I would like to see, but for now, I just have to see me. By Lolly Gannon. Staying Home 2020 by Michelle Marcotte. Sad, bored, needy, never I. Sew a new mask, bake a pie. Pull a weed, smell a rose. Hoe the garden, mend the hose. Chat with neighbors on the phone. Slowly lick an ice cream cone. Grocery shop, tomatoes pick. Do my best to not get sick. Help old neighbor paint his home. Check he's not too sad alone. Sleep in longer, pet the cat. Email to my sister Pat. Kids and grandkids FaceTime greet. Seeing them so very sweet. Watch a movie, read a book. Social media, take a look. Help my hubby build a room. Hoping things get better soon. Stash up fabrics, yarn galore. Sort the closet, need no more. Learn a new skill, sew a seam. Watch the game and cheer the team. Write a letter, shop online. Staying home suits me just fine. 2020, the year of the 19, by Kathy Conover. 2020 was set to be a promising year. Looking back at the roaring 20s in the rearview mirror, dates were set, a summer wedding was planned. As time went on, gatherings were banned. Stay-at-home orders were put into place. Zoom eliminated meetings face-to-face. The 19 was on the move, near and far. It all just seems so beyond bizarre. No visits, no hugs, masks and 6 feet apart. The new reality tugged at all our hearts. The warmth of grandchildren was kept at bay, leaving me empty and sad, I must say. People swarmed to the grocery stores. It brought panic and anxiety. It was quite the chore. Shelves were empty of many basic supplies. Dairy, baking goods, paper towels, TP, all the things that keep us alive. Suddenly, the gift of time fell into our laps. Taking walks, enjoying the garden, and even a nap. What was important the day before felt insignificant. It mattered no more. The 19 has allowed lots of time to reflect, the importance of family and friends, and the need to connect. I miss the routines, the life I once had. I'm certain it will return. Of that, I am glad. Staying vigilant with masks and 6 feet apart, getting the vaccine will be so smart. The 19 is destined to go down in flames. A better tomorrow is what remains. I want to wake up from this terrible dream and look in the mirror and wash my face clean and start a new verse with a nice happy ring and put in the past the COVID-19. Pandemic, the Dark and the Light by Caroline Pope. The dark, pain and numerous deaths, economic massacre, isolation critical. The light, positivity and necessity dictate engaging minds in creativity. A New Adventure by Betsy Smith. New home, adventure, wildlife, pretty scenery, still very isolated. And the judge's choice is Kathy Conover for 2020, the year of the 19. So thank you so, so much for those of you that participated. It was really a lot of fun to see your creativity and your sense of humor. And for those of you that are just watching, we appreciate you too. And I sure do hope that we can get together in person really, really soon.
Thank you, Tony. Oh my gosh, I'm glad I wasn't one of the judges. Those were just amazing. So I will be contacting each of you winners to find out what your favorite quilt shop is and get a gift certificate to you. So thank you, Tony, for organizing this. Thank you to the judges, and you didn't say who they were, but maybe they wish to remain anonymous. I don't know. But thank you, thank you, thank you. It was beautiful. Okay, let's move on to show and tell. Linda Hooper put together a showing of the latest show and tell items for us. Anne, please show us.
Okay, here we go.
Thank you, Linda Hooper. That was fabulous. Thank you so much. I love how she sets it to music too. And what a great guild we have. A lot of talent there. Debbie Ferris Cole introduced her new quilt challenge for 2021 on page 4 of the Stitch and Times magazine, or newsletter, I should say. Anyway, she says, congratulations again to the award winners for 2020 challenge, which was quilted, but not a quilt. And in case you missed it, Penn McVeigh won for her horse print purse, Rhonda Denny for her Snap Cat gift bags, Debbie Ferris Cole for the bird with quilted wings, and Jan Andrews for her Notions bag, and Lena Duenas for patchwork jeans, and Laura Fiore for travel bags. The most rewarding part for her was that she received several requests for the patterns and the many beautiful items and entries that people had made. And each award recipient expressed surprise and delight at winning some gorgeous fabric and gift certificates. So she says, my hope is that even more people would be inspired to join the 2021 Quilt Challenge. The theme will be rainy days. Consider the moody gray colors of a rainy afternoon or the bright, fresh, clean color after the rain stops to make your quilt. Think of children playing in the rain, or imagine cuddling inside with a cup of tea under your favorite blanket or quilt. We just need the right amount of rain to keep California going, and usually rain is welcomed. And she states that growing up in the desert, New Mexico, it rarely rained where she lived, and you could usually see just one lone rain cloud heading across the desert, and she hoped that it would come right over her where she was. So the challenge is to show how rainy days make you feel. Awards will be given to those who best express the feel of rainy days. Quilts can be any size larger than 30 by 30 inches. So you can make a really large quilt or a 30 by 30 inch quilt or something in between. Awards will be given in categories for traditional quilts, art quilts, word quilts, pictorial quilts, and landscape quilts. Traditionally, the quilt challenges are due in August, but as with 2020, there are no firm dates set. Hopefully we get to see these rainy days in person sometime after August, she says 2021. So hopefully we'll see a lot of them after that date for them to select a winner. Sew a Row. Let's move on to Sew a Row. So Anne, please present Tony's video on Sew a Rose.
Okay, I'll start it right now.
Hello, Tony Anderson with Sew a Row, and I have 3 new starts and 2 returns to share with you today. So here we go. Number 31 is Buster Goes to Town. Number 32 is Peach Tree. 33 is Flashback. All 3 of those are starts by Ann Nolan. Number 1 is a return. Row 4 was returned, and I worked on that, Tony Anderson. And number 6 was returned by Ann Nolan. It's called Peking Girls. And I just wanted to give you a little closer look at this because it's so cute, these little girls looking out of the windows. So you know what to do. All of them are up for adoption. Go out to the website. Thanks.
Thank you, Tony. Rhonda Denny is part of the Santa Rosa Community Health Organization. She's on their board, and she's asked if people in the guild could help her make items for the Santa Rosa Community Health. So in February's newsletter, there's a rather lengthy article in great detail on page 5. So please refer to that to get all of the details, but each month, Rhonda will ask for a specific item, and if you're interested, you can view her project under the TSW heading on our guild's website, and you can get patterns on how to make various items. This month's challenge is, if you have a journal, please save it and give it to her. we'll put an email out on how to get it to her. But a lot of us receive journals for our birthdays or holidays, and go through your closets, look under the bed, find any journals you have not used, and if you'd like, please donate them for this cause. What they're doing is they're stocking up what they call, trying to get the exact word here. It's a pediatric closet with items, and they're focusing on babies this year. They're going to stock the closet, and then after COVID, the women can go in and select the items that they need the most. So she's starting with the journals, and that'll be for February. March will be burp claws, and April will be receiving blankets, and May is a stuffed cat. And those particular patterns are already online under TSW. So thank you, Rhonda. Good job. And she's very dedicated to this, and I think it's a very worthwhile organization for our community. TSW, we have a technique sharing workshop chair, Lori Biendo. She just signed up. So this is her first time doing a technique sharing workshop. Lori will talk about making a special Valentine envelope. This envelope can be used for giving a gift or a card, or you can make it any size you want and attach it to your quilt. And that could be your label. So it's a very creative project. There are many free patterns on the website that you can view. The pattern that she based hers on was from Ruth Jensen, and we requested and received permission to use her pattern, and we'll email the pattern to you after the meeting. But you can make the envelope any size you want. You can even, make several of them, and she's got some examples. So Anne, please show Lori's video.
Okay, we'll go play that. And here we go.
Hi, I'm Lori Biendo. I've been a member of the Guild for quite a few years, and I know a lot of you don't know me, but I am the new TSW chairperson, and for my first TSW, I'm doing it and showing you this really cute little pattern. It's an envelope pattern, and this is the pattern, and it's going to be on the website. And what you need to do is trace the pattern, print it out, and trace it onto your fabric. So you need an inside fabric and an outside fabric. After you trace it, you want to sew with right sides together. So all the way around on the black line. Cut it out, adding a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then sew right sides together. And you're going to cut a slit so that you can turn it right side out. Then what you want to do is mark the inner lines, tell me if I'm not, this square onto the fabric, and then you're going to sew it onto a background fabric. So you sew it down. Then what you want to do is fold in the flaps, and just remember the flat side is the bottom flap, and you can sew it either on a diagonal or you can sew it straight when you sew it to the background. And then what you want to do is you want to hand sew the two seams, the two flaps right here, and then you'll be able to use the envelope. And then if you sew a snap or a Velcro on here, you'll be able to close it and use it for almost anything. You can make it into a mug rug, a pot holder. You can make enough blocks to make a quilt and insert a gift card, a love note for Valentine's Day, or anything you want. And that's about it. And then once you have it completed, you can finish as desired depending on what you want to do with it.
Thank you, Lori. If you have any questions, you're welcome to give Lori a call or an email, and her information is on the Guild's roster. I can envision putting this on a quilt and maybe not sewing those extra 2 little lines and opening it up and writing everything with a permanent marker and then folding it up and doing a little Velcro on it. And I think that would hold just fine. Or think about an advent calendar. You can make all kinds of little envelopes and put them on a background. But thank you, Lori. Very good for your very first one. In March, she's going to be showing Betty Upchurch's Flip and Stitch TSW video. So we'll look forward to that too. Let's move on to the UFO challenge. How many of you know what a UFO is? It's an unfinished object, and we've had these in the past. We're going to do it a little bit differently this year because we're not on the stage. People aren't handing us $5 bills for each unfinished object. But what we're going to do is go through your closets. If you have projects that have been sitting there for a long time and you need a little inspiration to, finish it, take a picture of your project, and you'll send them to Linda Hooper. Linda, you don't know this yet, but they'll be sending you these pictures. And there's a special format that Linda likes, so we'll be sending that out to you again to remind you. But take a picture of the projects. You can, if you've got 5 projects, that's fine. Just take 5 pictures. Before September 2nd, we will be asking you to send pictures of the projects that you have completed. And then if you have completed 3 projects, you get 3 chances to win a prize in a drawing. So that makes it easier than having to collect money and then trying to get the money back to you if you completed your project and candy and all that. This will be a lot simpler. So at the next meeting, try to remember to start sending your UFOs to Linda, and she'll start collecting them all through March. Okay, Linda, I hope you're okay with that. Thank you. So Bonnie Butler called and she said she's sorry she's not going to make it to the meeting today, but she said that the workshop with Sandra Mullen next Thursday, the workshop next Friday with Sandra Mullen is good. It's a go. March is with Lisa Thorpe, and she only has 2 people registered for that. Lisa is a resident artist at Bishop's Ranch, and she's preparing to move to Arkansas. So it'll all be on Zoom, but it should be very, very interesting. And there's a lot of information in the newsletter also about that particular workshop. April is Jenny Lyon, and Jenny Lyon was here, I think, about 5 or 6 years ago. She does beautiful machine quilting, and she's been using Zoom teaching classes over 20 times now. So she's really good at it, and she's ready to go. So you might want to sign up as soon as possible for Lisa Thorpe's workshop and April for Jenny Lyon. So you can send an email to Bonnie Butler Sabald, and her email address is in the Guild roster. And so she said, enjoy today's meeting. So thank you, Bonnie, for sending that to me at the last minute. Block of the month, Carol Lemoynier. I'm dying to see your block of the month for February. So let's have Carol tell us about it in her own words. And roll the video, please.
Okay, we'll do that here.
Hello, I'm Carol Lemonnier, half of the Block of the Month team. My other half is Joni Bellenhausen, and welcome to February's Block of the Month. It is called the Pom Pom Cap. Sorry, I only have a hat that doesn't have a pom-pom, but you know what those are. So, we have the block. This is the finished block. It should be 12 and a half. Your hat can be any color. Your pom-pom can match the bottom part if you want, or it doesn't have to. And then the background should be light, any white, off-white, light blue, or whatever color you want. So I'm going to give you what you need to make this very simple block, how to do it, and then I'll show you some possible layouts. Here we have all of the ingredients. We have a 8 inches wide by 7-inch cap. We have the bottom part, the rib of the hat, that is 2.5 by 8. We have the two side of the angle of the block, which are 2 3/4 by 12.5. Then to make your cap, you need 2 3.5-inch blocks. Your pom-pom is a 4-inch block that is made with 4 little 1.5-inch squares. And then on the side, you have a 4-inch by 2.5-inch block. So to assemble it, you do the typical cut, stitch, flip method. On your pom-pom, you've got 4 of these little squares. You sew them on the diagonal, you cut them, and then you flip them. For the cap, on the 8-inch side, you sew them. You could draw a diagonal line because this block is a little bit bigger. You cut it, and then you flip it. And now you've got your cap. The rest is so easy. You just add your bottom, you put these two together, and then you add your sides. So, you may like these, and if you win them, you can have a nice quilt made with little caps. You can make it with a Valentine theme because we are in February, or you can make it any color that you want. If you don't want a quilt with caps, which you know who doesn't always like those, then you can play with them and make something else. So here I've got saltwater taffy made from these blocks. Here's this taffy, and here's the little pieces of paper that put them all together, and then you can make a nice layout like that, just in case you don't want to do the caps. Or you can be traditional and make them all beautiful little caps or pom-pom caps. Some of this one's made from Georgianne, this one's made from Janet. You can mail them to me. You only need 1 stamp if you have 1 block. And just mail it to my P.O. box, and I will get them. We'll probably have the drawing in April. When you see this video, we will be together on Zoom doing our quilt-a-thon. And now I'm going to change hats, and as a member of the hospitality crew, where we would normally in February for the quilt-a-thon make our wonderful soups, Judy, Margot, Georgianne, and myself, we love doing that, and just thinking about it makes me miss you guys all together so much. So for the quilt-a-thon this Thursday, I hope you enjoy yourself, have a cup of soup, and toast to the hospitality crew, and host yourselves to all of us. Until we can all meet again, thank you. Make sure you do a lot of the blocks of the month, and we'll see you in March. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Carol and Joni Bellinghausen, for taking on Block of the Month for this year. And I love the fact that they're going to keep the theme as clothing all year long. We have a special surprise for you. We have a beautiful studio tour of Judy Matheson's sewing quilting room. And please play Judy's video.
Okay, let's go here.
I'm Judy Matheson. Welcome to my studio. We've lived here since 1996, and when I first walked into this room, I knew it was going to be my studio and I would love it. We moved up from the San Francisco area back to Northern California then. There are 5 things in a room that you might like as a studio. One is a cutting place, one is a sewing place, one is a design wall, an ironing place at the end of the room, and all around is my fabric, which is number 5. I'll show that to you as we get around. So I want you to see, first of all, my cutting place, and I have also back here a library of reference material and a lot of rulers. Jack made this for me many years ago, and it's a double-decker. There's a bottom that sits on top of an old desk, and then it's raised up by 2 boards that have crisscross in here, and it can be the height that I need be to have the cutting table, and it's very sturdy. It's really wonderful, and I love it. Underneath here is room for my extra sewing machines. I have a featherweight that I may take to a retreat. I have an older Bernina that's a kind of a backup for my other Bernina, and then I have a Juki, which is good because it goes very fast and does straight stitch really well for machine quilting. While we're here, let's talk about the sewing setup. I have a Bernina 440. I don't particularly want anything fancier. I have some trouble with my electronics as it is. So I've had this one for about 10 years. It does everything I need, but I might buy another one someday. We'll see. In the meantime, this is set up with an ironing board on one side, so I can do my piecing with a small wattage iron, not have too much electricity flowing around me. This is my Sew Easy, which I take to retreats and things, but it makes a nice extra place to have fabric when I'm sewing big, like if I'm doing a full-size quilting. I also have an extra 6-foot table here that I can use to spread out the working surface, or for when I have a quilt. Those 2 quilts are going to be machine quilted by me in the near future. Now, design wall. This is one of my favorite things. It's made from 4 by 8 sheets of something I don't know whether you can buy anymore. It's best basically pressed paper. You can stick pins in it. It isn't very heavy. I don't really know what to buy nowadays, but I've covered it in flannel sheets, which was all that was available in 1996. They didn't have extra wide backing for quilts like they do now. These quilts are from what I call my pandemic production, as it is, and I'll talk about those on show and tell sometime, and you know more about them. But one of the things I like about this board is that I can take a full size or any kind of quilt and I can line it up with the vertical lines between the boards, and I have some horizontal lines as well. And it comes to when I finish it, I can check to make sure that it hangs straight and that it's the right size. And if I have any issues with it not being straight, even after it's quilted like this one is, I can take it, turn it backwards, check that it doesn't, the fabric doesn't bleed, and pin it into straight positions, and then either steam it or spray it lightly and let it dry. And that's where I block my quilts. Going on here, I have extra boards over here in case I want to do small projects and my board is already full, or bigger boards that I can take with me to retreats where I need a design wall there. Comfortable. We need a chair. This is my mother's rocking chair. I can sit here and do some stitching by hand if I choose to, and sit here and I can watch the TV behind me over here, or Jack can sit here, Jack, my husband, who's doing the videographing today. This is a regular ironing table, but it has a big board on it, so it's bigger than normal. And the new thing right now, one of the new notions that are available and quilters are talking about are these wool pads. They're 1/2-inch condensed wool, and they're really great for when you want to put a block down and then you want to iron it with steam, and the steam goes through to the back and kind of irons it from both sides. I did not get this from Sewing Notion people. I got it from Mustang.com, and it's a actual saddle pad, and I cut it to be this shape and sewed it back together so that it fills up a lot of the space here. While we're here, talk about my light table when I need to trace something. Also, the lights, the studio lights. We have one here and also one at the other end of the room, and they both point back over at the design wall. And Jack has, over the years, taken many pictures of quilts for me, some for my website, some for the books that I have produced, and also for the Guild sometimes sends me their quilts and bring it down here, and we quilt it for putting on the postcards. Also, you will see a lot of these in the near future here. Boxes that have names on them. This is wool. This is where I keep my fabric, in covered spaces. If it's big enough to hold fabric, it probably has fabric in it. Like, guess what? Down here. Fabric down here, even in my footstool. This is my mother-in-law's china closet, and I think it makes a good place to put fabric, but it's the only place that I actually have fabric exposed, because I like to keep my fabric that hasn't been used yet, at the very least, in the dark, so that it doesn't fade. These are but I do have these. It's my only display of fabric. Some batiks, checkerboards, and stripes. Some of my favorite fabrics. And in the bottom, I keep those pieces of fabric that are big enough to make backings. Very handy, very handy. And then on to the one purpose-built piece of furniture that I have. I bought years and years ago from a quilter whose husband was making, whoops, doesn't want to open, making cabinetry to hold, especially to hold quilt fabric. Most of this fabric came from the Legacy or from the tables at the Guild, either sales or free fabric, or retreats where they had free fabric. It's what I think of as my commercial fabrics that have nothing, no visuals, like no pictures of dogs, no pictures of cats, nothing like that. Mostly textural kind of fabrics. And I make a lot of fabrics, make a lot of quilts from it, but my daughter-in-law, who recently took up quilting, comes and takes fabric out of here. So I would like you to see my view and talk about the lighting in a studio like this. I have only the one window, and normally I keep it closed when I'm gone, and I open it up when I'm here. It's a western exposure, so it doesn't do a really good thing for the lighting in here. I have much better lights. They're fluorescent, full spectrum lights for the color. You can also get LEDs, but I'm not sure, while they're economical, what the color range is, but I'm pretty happy with these for the moment. Threads. I also have my thread drawer open here. I don't normally have my threads out. They are very harmful to light rays, and so I keep my thread closed up at all times as well. Now, this is the place where I have most of my fabric. And I'll open it up, and then Jack will get over here so he can see where I keep it. So I keep it in boxes. I keep it in categorized boxes. So there are a couple of plaids, about 4 Japanese, 3 or 4 dog fabrics. I used to make a lot of quilts about dogs because my husband is interested in dog competitions. Herding is some of the things. We have keep some sheep for that. And stripes and hand dyes and solid fabrics and just all specified. And when I need them, I take the box out and I put it on the table, and then I can look at what I have. Also, I have another hand dyed fabric here and fabrics here which are empty, and I'm planning to either paint or dye them at some point. So one last fabric stash back here, let me show you, is my Japanese, mostly silks, kimono fabrics. That's this. So you can see that there are pieces, big pieces, and they do not fold and stack very well. So they really have to be brought out and looked at together. I have four boxes of those, and they're a lot of fun. I've made a lot of quilts about circles, with circles, pieces of beautiful Japanese fabrics that show elegantly. This is the book that I published in 2004, and I stopped teaching in about 2007 or 8. I taught things about Mariner's Compass. And if you go to my website, you'll see some of those quilts from that time and my more recent time. My email is judymatheson.com. If you don't know how to spell my name, go Judy Quilter Sevastopol. I think that'll get you there. This book is actually available print on demand, or you can find it online, and you can probably find it in our own library. So look there if you're interested in it. One last thing here at the end is it's New Year's Day, and I'm hoping we have a much better New Year's. I am so impressed by all the people who come together to make these meetings possible for us, the virtual meetings, the Zooms. And actually we have great entertainment. We have classes, we have visiting lectures. We are staying together, and I hope that in 2001 we get together even closer. Thank you. Happy New Year's.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Judy Matheson. That was a wonderful presentation. I love peeking in people's sewing rooms, don't you? Couple of upcoming events. March 12th, 13th, and 14th is the drive-through Cloverdale Citrus Fair Food Frenzy. Try to say that fast. Cloverdale Citrus Fair Food Frenzy from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can look online. Last time I looked, it wasn't quite all the way updated, but I understand they are working on their website. So if you need information on it, and if you want to enter a quilt, I would say look online carefully. I'm not certain how they're going to display them. March 18th is our speaker meeting featuring Sandra Mullen, and she's been at our guild before, and her program will be on a personal journey in traditional applique, and then she's going to have her workshop on the 19th and March 5th, Water Lily Raw Edge applique for those who have signed up. That's it for this meeting. We're going to continue on with the sew-a-thon, but it is now 11:09. It lasted a little bit longer than I expected, but we had a lot to cover. So thank you all. Stay tuned. Meeting is adjourned officially, but let's continue with the quilt-a-thon. It will break at 11:45. I set my timer. We'll break for like 20 minutes. Everybody can grab a bite, and then we'll complete it at 2 o'clock today. So everybody stay tuned and have fun.
Thanks, Janelle.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Janelle.
Thank
Good
you.
meeting.
Thank you.
Well, thank you to Ann Nolan and Linda Super Hooper. Ann puts all of the Zoom together, all the videos. Thank you for everybody who participated. And then Linda does the post everything to the website, and she does those wonderful show and tell videos. It's just amazing. It takes a village. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anne and Linda.
Thanks, everyone.
It was an awesome meeting.